18 awesome military paint jobs. Thank you, Shannon Moxley, for leaving us this comment in our 20 incredible US military photos video. Let us know which paint job you think is the best in this video, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. Number 18. Dragon Jet. This military jet is not only breathing out fire, but shooting it out too. Owned and operated by Dragon Aviation, this currently sits in Lebanon, Tennessee. The 167 Strike Master has a wingspan of 36 feet, equipped with two 30 caliber machine guns, mounted underneath the intakes. It also features 30mm cannons. The first prototype of this was created in 1967 from England, with an engine capable of 3,410 pounds of thrust. Number 17. Anime Copter. This helicopter is part of the Japanese Armed Forces, and they like to show how serious they take their anime over there. This was presented to the military with the help of this cosplay woman as part of their air show, and even if it doesn't go off into battle, it's still pretty awesome. Japan isn't technically allowed to have an army, just a defense force after World War II. But if Godzilla ever does actually attack Japan, this could be put to use. Number 16. Eagle Copter. This sweet helicopter, obviously owned by the US military, is on display to the public, and we're sure this sweet paint job is grabbing quite a bit of attention. Number 15. World War II Nose Art. How would you like your own dream girl painted on your airplane? World War II soldiers were of course beginning to miss their wives and quality American women back at home. To give them a little taste of good memories from America, they would often paint some seductive photos of pretty American women on the nose of their plane like you see here. Number 14. Douglas B-26C Invader. Another image of a woman on the nose of a plane, this Douglas B-26C Invader was given this painting of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed beauty in a tropical setting. Being able to paint offered some peace of mind before engaging in the battle and protecting them against the stresses of war. In many cases, nose art wasn't really approved, but no rules were really enforced against it. Number 13. Takeoff Time. Keep in mind, some of these nose paintings could be much racier. This was back before women were allowed on the battlefield, and depending on where they were stationed, there could be months without even seeing a real woman. The most fun time during a flight is usually taking off. This little play on words was cleverly displayed on a B-25J bomber, which was commonly used in World War II. Nearly 10,000 of these bombers were produced, and it still remains somewhat of an iconic image of US bombers. Number 12. Sentimental Journey. The B-17 bomber was a devastating aircraft and was given the nickname the Flying Fortress. This massive bomber helped the US secure superiority over the skies of the battlefield, so there's no doubt that some of these would get some pretty cool paint jobs. Betty Grable was an iconic image to Americans, was a famous pinup, model, singer, dancer, and actress at the time, and was about as American as apple pie. She's featured in a famous pose she was known for, looking over her shoulder. The ladies painted on the planes really boosted morale, and they almost acted as a guardian, granting comfort. Number 11. Skeleton Minigun. Nose art carried over into the Vietnam War as well, as we can tell from this photo. This skeleton here was equipped with a machine gun, most likely to strike some fear into the enemies. This was drawn on an AC-130 gunship that is equipped with two 20mm M61 Vulcan cannons. It also featured a large arsenal of guns to take out enemy troops on the ground. This one here is stationed in Hurlburt, Florida. Nose art at this time seemingly evolved from pretty woman to downright creepy, as we're about to see. Number 10. The Crystal Ship. Vietnam nose art turned a little more grim, possibly because they could tell that the war wasn't really going anywhere and no one was winning. More psychoactive drugs that were available at this time could have had an influence as well. The Crystal Ship was an early primitive helicopter sent into battle. It featured a fairly similar nose paint job to one that was commonly used in World War II, but for some reason it looks much more eerie with the large fangs coming out. Number 9. The Negotiator. The soldiers often felt less motivated to fight in the Vietnam War, and the commitment to the country was seemingly not there. With the protesters back at home not really supporting the war, the artwork was also focused on them, and not really the enemy. One of the more grim images that appeared was the Negotiator, who was a skeleton that dressed up in a top hat and cane. Although skeletons have been placed on planes before, this one had a deeper message. The soldiers during the Vietnam War really felt more like the bringers of death than heroes, and that our government lacked any ability to negotiate. Number 8. Damage Inc. As weapons like napalm and Agent Orange were being used, soldiers were exposed to quite a bit of carnage that was just different than during World War II. Damage Inc. was a clear example of a change of attitude among the soldiers fighting in Vietnam. A pilot from the era believed that one of the reasons for the change from World War II was because more and more pilots were older and because they held graduate degrees. Number 7. Midnight Marauder. The Midnight Marauder was also another depiction of the grim art at this time and featured a Grim Reaper on horseback. More mature men at this time avoided the sexually oriented art and often had children or wives they were eager to see at home. The artwork in the past had often been overlooked by military officials, but now there was a little more scrutiny on the practice. Only a few companies were allowed to, and many of them were quite morbid when they painted on their planes. Number 6. Mi-24. Occasionally, even Russia will partake in some nose art. This design features a fierce Siberian tiger popping out of the cockpit, and people should really watch out for this one. This helicopter, known as the Mi-24, has been in operation since 1972 by the Soviet Union and its successors, along with 30 other nations. Its unofficial nickname is Crocodile, due to its camouflage scheme looking like a crocodile. Number 5. Eagle Mi-24. This is also a detailed painting on an Mi-24, and its country of origin is unknown. The USA doesn't typically buy Russian-made helicopters, so it's most likely not from America, as you might have been thinking. Eagles actually do exist in other countries, but the northwest coast of North America is by far the greatest stronghold. Number 4. Gulf War paint jobs. Creative nose art designs made somewhat of a comeback in the Gulf War, as you can see from this photo. This fighter jet is given the mouth of a shark, which also was a common design during World War II. Number 3. Sad Man. This jet was given a quick paint job depicted Saddam Hussein gain a quick and swift kick from British freedom. The Sepacat, which is French and stands for Société Européenne de Production de l'Avion de Corps de Combat et de Pluie Tactique, has been used by the French and British Air Force. During the Gulf War, it was praised for its reliability. Number 2. German Air Force painting. These iron birds in the sky are given a nifty zebra paint job by the German military. The 4657 Panavia Tornado 4657 is one heck of a combat aircraft used by multiple air forces in Europe and Saudi Arabia. It's seen combat in the Bosnian War, Iraq War, Libyan Civil War, and small roles in Afghanistan, Yemen, and Syria. And number 1, the Flying Tiger. This looks like it might be the personal jet for someone on the Bengals football team. This awesome tiger paint job might not look too incognito, but actually features a blue belly, which makes it hard to detect from the ground. In case you were wondering, yes, Canada does have an air force, and this is part of it.